My intention really is not to have Mistress to be a floating apartment. Current carrying capacity, say that 10 times. I've got a Maxwell 1200, very nice looking winch at that, I must say. The time has come to unbox the first of Mistress's batteries. I just thought I'd also mention as well something about the reasons behind why I'm having a 12 volt system as opposed to, for example, 24 volt, 36 volt, 48 volt. Sky's the limit, right? Who knows what's going to happen in the future. But a couple of people have asked me the question about why 12 volt, why not a higher voltage? The short answer is I wanted to keep everything as simple and as easy to problem solve for me, but also in terms of availability of products, it's not such an issue in a rich Western country, but once you start traveling around the world, not all countries have a readily supply of items in 24, 48, even 36 volt motors and other electrical devices. So for me, that has been along the way the reasoning why I've chosen 12 volt. It's simple, it's readily available around the world, and the other thing is, as most industry and professionals will say, if your power requirements are not that huge, really, a 12 volt system is absolutely adequate and fine, and also recommended. The other thing to mention is my intention really is not to have Mistress to be a floating apartment. I'm not criticizing anybody who has higher power demands, but I'm just saying I'm keeping things very simple with Mistress. My plans really are to do a lot of sea miles ahead. That is my real desire. Beyond building Mistress, to do lots of sea miles. I'm not going to be having lots of high energy hungry devices on Mistress to make my life a real luxury when on the water. I'm happy to do things a little bit rough. I do want to have nice things, as I think you can get the idea from my videos. And so really, a 12 volt system suits Mistress and it suits me. And just to be clear, I make absolutely no judgment about what anybody else is doing. Well, now that I've got the cables at the house battery location sorted, I need to come to this end in the nav area and start working on this area. This, as could be expected, is quite a bit more complicated. Not only do I have the main cables coming from the house batteries up, I've got cables up here in the nav area that need to go down as well to the AGM starting battery. And with that, one thing which actually works out great, this cable here for the Windlass doesn't need to be as long as it is. So I'll be feeding that down and I'll be able to cut off probably close to 1 meter of their length, which all helps in the scheme of things in terms of current carrying capacity, say that 10 times. And so that's always a good win to have. So what I've got here is, on top of this battery shelf here, I've got the cables that need to go up into the nav area through those holes. And then these ones below here, the two of them, they're actually not the same circuit. The black one is from the engine and the red one there is the DC-DC judge cable. So those ones will stay down to go into the battery and those other ones need to go up. One thing though, as you can see, I've got this conduit elbow here and I want to put that on the end of that conduit coming out of the whole floor there. And obviously these battery monitor cables also need to go through that and be fed to go up through those holes into the control panel location. And another thing I'm going to do is continue some conduit from these holes coming through that sole floor panel up to those holes. And just to say, from this point on, where those cables have been bundled in the way that I've put them, from this point on, where they go through that nav floor sole piece, they'll actually be going into different holes because they go to different places.
Oye, siempre ha sido el gran amor, Chacha. Cienfuegos, adiós, me voy para La Habana. Cienfuegos, adiós, porque me da la gana. Es la verdad, oye. Cienfuegos, adiós, me voy para La Habana. Adiós, goodbye. Cienfuegos, adiós, porque me da la gana. Bueno, mira, escucha. Tenemos una historia tú y yo. Me conoces desde que era niño. Hey, y siempre ha sido el gran amor. Y no sabía nada más fino. Pero ahora tengo que cambiar mi vida. Y por eso yo te tengo que dejar. Y en serio no he buscado otra salida, porque yo quiero ir a La Habana a cantar. Eso yo quiero, me voy, oye. Cienfuegos, adiós, me voy para La Habana. Cienfuegos, adiós, porque me da la gana. Cienfuegos, adiós, me voy para La Habana.
So what was it that I said about in case I need to put any other gauges in that electrical panel? Yeah, so I've just been looking at the Windlass anchor instructions and rebrushing up with all of that. I've got a Maxwell 1200, very nice looking winch at that, I must say. So just looking at the wiring instructions, which are actually detailed more in the book, I've got this inline breaker isolation fuse for that winch, which is excellent because what it means is if there are any large surges, this will just trip. And obviously, being a circuit breaker, it's resettable. And the idea is that that should be mounted within 1.8 meters of the power source. So what I'm going to do is put that in the main panel, which is fitting, and it will be very easy to see. It also has an LED light so that you can see whether it's powered up or not. So what I need to do now is go down below and make a cutout for the back of that, get some epoxy where the cutout is so that I can look at getting that wired up. Now, why this has come up is because I am looking at cutting this cable for the winch, and I thought I better just make sure with all the winch instructions that I'm doing the right thing. And as it turned out, I probably was going to make an error, so very pleased that I've hopped in and had a look and just checked. Now's the time, of course, so I'll get this sorted out and then I can work out the length of these cables.
Bueno, mira de nuevo, y siempre te voy a extrañar. Claro que sí, porque por muchos años era mi vida real, oye. Y cuando regreso yo te voy a dar, te lo juro, un regalito bien bonito de la capital. Pero ahora tengo que cambiar mi vida y por eso yo te tengo que dejar. Y en serio he buscado otra salida, porque yo quiero ir a La Habana a cantar. Sí, es la verdad, por eso escucha ahora. Cienfuegos, adiós, me voy para La Habana.
And the piano hinge has arrived. Piano hinge is also known as continuous hinge. I've ordered a whole length, 1.8 meters, with no holes drilled in it, which means I can cut it to the length I need and drill the holes where I need them. Well, the time has come to unbox the first of Mistress's batteries. So this is a Maxon AGM battery called a Marine Extreme. It's a true dual purpose. It's been tested and it has a cold cranking or CCA rating. It's fairly new off the press. In fact, I think it was only developed last year. Could be wrong on that, but I couldn't find it in many places. In fact, only one place here in southeast Queensland. It's meant to be able to do the job nicely of being good for cold cranking and for slow discharging. Also, it's completely sealed, 100% maintenance free. It can be turned on its side, upside down. It's a true sealed, maintenance free AGM battery. Just a reminder, the only work that this is really going to be doing is for engine starting and for running the windlass. And as I've said before, the conductors are actually above recommended sizes, just to make sure and give me that security that these conductors will do the job. Anyway, it's unbox time because I need to now get cables sized for where they're going to terminate at this battery, and that is exciting stuff. The puzzle pieces are coming together, and I think nicely. This electrical work continues in the next episode, everybody. Now that I'm in the role of unboxing this DC-DC charger by Enerdrive. And obviously, you don't want to make a mistake at this point in time. Could I ask you a quick favour request for watching my video? To like, subscribe, click that bell and share it. I'd really appreciate that.